The Southeast Idaho Paranormal Organization is interested in finding interesting places around Idaho that most people haven't seen. This is a secret canyon in the Twin Falls area. It's private land and not too many people get to come here and see what this canyon's all about. The Southeast Idaho Paranormal Organization has had the opportunity to come and stay here and check it out a little bit. And what we found was this canyon is actually full of mystery. It may look like an ordinary canyon, but what we found here may go far deeper and further back than anywhere else that we've been before. So join us tonight on Mysterious Destinations here in Twin Falls, Idaho. Obsidian. It's everywhere along the top of this canyon, all around the perimeter. But again, interesting enough, we don't find any, or I have not found any, actually down in the canyon. What kind of mysteries do these little black pieces of rock open up for this location? Well, as an archaeologist, obsidian tells me some things. I don't claim to know everything, but the fact that we find so much of this volcanic glass known as obsidian really is significant, and it really makes this whole canyon incredibly mysterious. But what really surprised me was just the amount of obsidian that we have found here on the perimeter of this canyon. An ancient site of the Native Americans here. You'd find possibly 20 to 50 pieces of this black rock. We found thousands of pieces of obsidian. And again, they're not natural. There's probably a source somewhere close by here, but we find pieces like this. Not just flakes or chunks or whatever that we find of obsidian, but literally broken pieces of tools. Again, this to me does not seem like it is small bands of groups of Native Americans like I'm used to seeing here in other parts of Idaho. This must have been a sacred spot, a spot where groups would come from all over, probably especially from the south, and they would come here for whatever reason. To me, probably because this represents a creation place, a place where the world began, a place where they could find spiritual power. And again, they left their remnants, the obsidian pieces that they were making their tools out of.
My first impression of the canyon is it was a very beautiful, beautiful place, and it was full of lots of good history.
The thing I like about the canyon, it's very preserved to what it would have been like when Native Americans would have been using that site. There's not a lot of development in the canyon itself, and so you really get a feeling like you're stepping back in time and going to someplace different.
As an anthropologist, we look for patterns in human behavior. A lot of times, especially dealing with the modern day cultural people, you can find remnants of the past in their current cultural beliefs of today. When we came here to the canyon, one of the things that came to my mind was that just the idea of this being a gathering point, a sacred place for people who don't necessarily live together, but share a common ancestry in the past. They would come here at specific times during the year, and that would be a time of festival, a time of trade, and a time where, plain and simple, young people could get to know each other and intermarry. I walked around the edge of the canyon and we could see obsidian flakes everywhere. But interesting enough, when we get down in the canyon, there's not a single obsidian flake or arrowhead to be found. What that really tells me is that the people were camping and doing a lot of their domestic stuff up on the rim of the canyon, and then they were probably going down into the canyon to do sacred ceremonies or whatever they were doing down there.
Right, the canyon was really neat. It's such a beautiful area. Definitely really has a great Native American history about it. The sweat lodge itself was really neat to be able to sit in and just kind of imagine what it was like back in the day when they used it for that purpose. The caves in which they used to sleep in were neat. You could definitely see the remnants of smoke and ash on the actual rock itself, so you knew it was definitely used as a campsite.
Well, mostly the big thing was when I had the Indians, Native Americans from the Duck Valley and the Fort Hall community come here about 15 years ago, and they told me this was the land of the ancient ones. And when I said that, what did you mean? They said the people that were here before our people. Just what's laying on the surface, there's lots of things that can cut meat, very sharp. There's things that grind grain, and in our whole area there's plants of every kind that were used for everything from medicinal to eating. A place that's 5 miles from a city, and yet it could be in Mars when you put it in relationship because it's so remote. It was very remote when I first purchased the property, but we do now have some roads into it where we can actually drive to it and drive down into it.
It has a very diverse history, all the way from ancient Native Americans to pioneers and different peoples using this canyon for different reasons.
I got to have the experience of eating ants, watercress, and mustard flower. That was fun. Lisa joined me in the watercress and mustard flower, not so much the ants.
As I think I've mentioned, and maybe Gary mentioned in his interview, he had the Shoshone-Bannock Indian tribal leaders there years ago, and they told him it was the land of the ancient ones, which he was told is a place where those that predated even our Native American tribes used that Stones Canyon as a place of spiritual healing.
Some of the things that I've experienced ever since I've had the property, I get a sense of not necessarily somebody being there, but it's very, very spiritual, and I feel like I have to protect it. And I've really felt strong that way. A long time ago I realized that I could develop the property for home sites and make a lot of money, but to me that would be like a prostitute. I just can't make myself do that. The Indians have even given me the name of the keeper, which means that I'm guarding it. They said that I'm the person that should have it in their estimation. This has been 15 years ago, and I've tried to live up to that. So.
Okay, here we are. Raining, pretty bad. Gonna go down to the sauna. You got a recorder?
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't you guys go ahead and get in? I'll just sit down right here. Okay, those guys are gonna get into the sauna. I also have this, hey, we had actually fairly good luck with the K2 in here, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Do you want me to pass it in?
But it was about the most activity.
Let me pass it in to you.
This is EVP session number 1 in the canyon.
Let's turn off lights.
And we are in the sauna.
Okay, this is what we believe to be an ancient sauna. As you can see, there are definitely benches that have been carved into the rock. And what we believe is that ancient peoples had water coming down off of these rocks from natural springs that are just above us. And they would probably have hot rocks or even a fire, because we can see discoloration right here on the rock from where the fires were, which caused a sauna. They would come in here and they would sit and they would enjoy the steam and the heat that was produced from the water and the fire that was here, or the probably used different types of hot rocks. The interesting thing is that this is not a common formation in this part of the Americas. So generally, the purpose behind being in a sweat bath like this was to keep clean. They would use this to cleanse themselves, both physically and spiritually. One thing that's really is these sweat lodges, these saunas, really do work. They open up the pores and they allow the body to sweat and get rid of all of the toxins that are in the body. And so it was a great way to keep clean.
At various times I've been down there. I go down there to meditate and walk and to show people the ancient sauna, the sweat lodge that you referred to, and other caves and some of the other interesting artifacts and relics of that area. I have myself personally escorted 3 psychic mediums there. One was a man from Denmark who I met, who is also a base jumper. And he, at the time when he and I went down there, he connected with a spiritual guide, which he said was a 17-year-old ancient Native American who had been there and guided us around the area. It was very interesting.
It went up to the 3rd beacon.
4.
There it went again. And
It's right
again.
there.
He's just going above.
It's gone.
Move yours.
And it's gone. It's like it's random.
Let's see.
It went up. It was there for a second and now it's gone. I don't know. We're in the middle of nowhere. There's no electricity here.
Other than what we have.
No, but it wouldn't.
And this isn't on.
We don't have anything that would cause an
It would
electrical
register?
field. Oh! It's going off right now. Maybe we should try to ask some questions.
Just saw it do it again.
This device is what you call a K2 meter. And if you touch it or move your hand in front of it, it may be able to detect your presence. So if you can light up those lights, then we will know that you're here. Can you please do that for us? All you need to do is touch it and see if you can make those lights light up. We've appreciated the communication you've given us so far. And
There it goes again.
how far did it go
I
up?
went up to the 2nd one. But it went and there's no lightning going on.
If you're here, please give us a sign. If you don't give us a sign, we will not leave. Do you have a secret about this place? We're here to find your secret. Please communicate with us. It's the best way. Again, if you can make these lights move, we appreciate it. That's a good way that we know that you're here and that you're communicating with us. Can you knock on the rocks like this?
bright flash of lightning.
Yeah, this didn't activate. There it goes. Look at that.
There it is. It's reacting to what you're saying.
Whatever you just said. Either made very happy or very mad, or maybe it was leaving, or maybe it just came back. There it goes. Getting that?
So are you here?
I call that a yes.
Sitting in the sweat lodge, I could tell it wasn't built for a person over about 5'8". I was scrunched in there pretty good, but it felt almost comfortable, almost felt like a hug. I hate to say that, but it felt like a hug. It was just a real pleasant place to be.
So the sauna was a really cool experience for all of us. I believe Eric and I went into the sauna first, and we were in there for a while. I was looking around, looking for something to happen. Nothing really happened. We didn't have anything going off on the K2 meter. And so we swapped with Mark and Scott. And when Mark and Scott got in there, we began to have a little bit of activity. It was cool to me to watch the K2 meter go off as Scott began to speak some of the native languages. Like, it seemed to react directly to those words. I can speak a little bit of Yucatec Mayan. What I found really interesting was when I started speaking little phrases in that language, all of a sudden we started to get responses on the K2 meter. Please, show us again that you're here. If you will make it light up right now, we will leave your place and leave you alone, and we will not return.
Shadow! Up, up, up!
Where?
Something just blocked out. Something just blocked out the light right here.
You want us to go look?
Above. Right above.
I'm not seeing anything.
Don't fall. You okay?
That was kind of freaky. No, I just looked up and you know how you could see?
Yeah, or something.
All of a sudden something.
There's something out there. Did you hear it move? I just heard it move right there. Is there an animal or something?
We got to try and recreate that.
Blast it with lights, look for eyes.
It's gone.
No, I didn't hear anything.
All I know, that was weird. You talked, and then the second you spoke, you started speaking that Mayan, that thing like lit up like crazy.
Yellow consistently for 30 seconds.
Need help getting up?
I want to.
No. I was just trying to see where I fell.
I looked up through that hole. All of a sudden, it was really fast, but it just went whoosh, and it was like it blocked out the light for just a millisecond. But it was like almost a blink. Later on that night, I was sitting in the sweat lodge, and it is very tight in there. But if you look up, you can see a crack, and you can kind of see outside the sweat lodge. Now, there was enough light out that I could plainly see, the grass and stuff growing above the sweat lodge. I describe it as just a really quick flash. You know, the opening wasn't that big, so I really couldn't see a shape. It was just, I could see the light, and then all of a sudden something walked past it. It just blocked out the light. And I got very excited, so I just simply started pointing up and telling John and Mark that I had seen something. Of course, we ran up there, no one else saw anything, and we didn't see any more shadows that night.
And to be honest, the higher the KE meter jumped, kind of the more nervous I became. And then when Scott told me that he saw a shadow, I said, oh boy, that could be nothing. It could be something paranormal, or it could be the mountain lion I heard about.
And then when Scott saw the shadow, we ran up, we looked around, we didn't see anything, but you know, you could almost feel like there was a presence there with us. It was just a really cool experience.
At my first investigation with SEIPO, I had a lot of fun. The guys and the gals were great, very professional organization, and the investigation they took me on was fun and it was entertaining and very educational. I'd never been on an investigation like this that was so focused on history rather than just basically thrill-seeking. I learned a lot from it. I look forward to doing investigations with SEIPO again in the future.
I loved the canyon. I thought it was a great place to go, and we felt very honored as SEIPO to be able to come into the canyon and have a guided tour with the stones. They are wonderful people, and we've really enjoyed listening to their stories and listening to the history of the area.
My impressions of the SEIPO group, even beginning when I first met the Bryan brothers, was of total professionalism. They came well prepared. They were looking not just for like the thrill part of things, but they were interested in the historical aspect of this canyon and had the utmost respect for the canyon, for the investigation, and throughout the time that they were there, and honored the wishes of the owners. The investigation was performed with the utmost integrity.
My overall impression of the canyon is, again, it was an excellent investigation. I really liked the canyon. And the reason why is because it was an investigation that fit our group very well. We had an interesting location. We had lots of good stories, but yet there was a lot of mystery there too. You could see that this was a place that people had been going for a very long time. And as an anthropologist, I can look at areas like that and just imagine what the stories were behind that canyon.
I like to walk up to the canyon walls and just stand there with my back against the wall and look straight up and feel the power coming off that wall. And it's very, very strong to me. I can feel it everywhere down there. And I really truly feel like it could be a place of the beginning. It's just every time I go down there, there's a time that I can't, there's never been a time that I can't feel those feelings. And they're very strong to me, overwhelming to anything else almost. And it's almost like when I'm down with people giving them a tour or something, I don't feel possessed necessarily, but I feel like I'm speaking for the people that I'm discovering, is a good way to put it maybe.
Okay, I'd like to start this EVP session. My name's Scott. I'd like to invite anything that's here, if you'd please communicate with us.
In modern day, there have been several different people inhabit this area.
No. There you go.
What do you want us to know?
we're being extremely careful right now because the owner has let us know that there's actually a mountain lion that may live deeper in these rocks.
And how long have you been gone, departed the world of the living?
So get it? Almost, just a little more. Just
Let
a
me
little
get
more.
one more knee in here. There we are. Okay. There it is again. Whoa. Whoa. Electricity there. There's nothing there. When we were there, we began to ask questions.
When the K2 meter went off, there was no reason for it. There was nothing electrical around. The water was hundreds of feet below us. There was no lightning at the time. The rain wasn't happening.